Today I'm going to show you how to apply Behr Granite Grip and get professional results. Let's get started. Hi everybody, I'm Jim Dierdorf and this is Detroit DIY. I've got the Behr Granite Grip on my front porch and now on half of my back porch, and I still have the other half to do. Unfortunately, I can only do a portion of that because of the dogs. So my wife put down the first coat here on the back porch and she just used the roller, and she had a great deal of difficulty because the Behr Granite Grip has a gritty substance in it, and that substance with the binding or the paint or the adhesive or whatever is mixed in with it is a liquid. The roller would pick that up more readily, so when she was almost done there was maybe a cup or a cup and a half of the gritty substance left but no liquid. So it had been a couple of years since I've done the front porch, so I had to kind of go back. I watched a couple of videos and I put together my own method of doing it to make sure that everything in the pan got onto the porch and not that the roller sucked up more of the liquid and left the grit. Also, when you're going around the perimeters, you're using a paintbrush for that, and you can't just paint it on because it just smears the gravel around and it just, or the grit, and it just doesn't look like it should look like. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and I'm going to show you the best way to get this stuff down. Get it down evenly so it's not blotchy looking. I see a lot on YouTube and some of the comments and reviews and stuff that I've read say that it looks blotchy. Mine doesn't look blotchy, and I'm going to show you how to get around that and how to make this stuff look really nice. I'm working out of a 5-gallon bucket, and the first thing you want to do is give this a good stir. It settles fast, and the reason I kind of say adhesive is because you can see there's a white substance in here, which I believe is more of an adhesive than a paint. I've had good luck with this. It's been on my front porch, like I say, for a couple of years now with no issues. It doesn't try to lift, it's not anything, it's just hanging on and doing really good. So we're going to stir this up really good. I had them shake it when I bought it, but I popped the lid off about 2 hours later when we were ready to go, and it had already separated. So this is something that you'll want to do every time you go to apply some, is give it a good stir. The other thing I noticed is that I'm getting better coverage than what the can says. So I had probably 3/4 of a gallon, and I've used maybe 1.5 gallons out of this. We'll see, because by the time I'm done here, this should almost be depleted. The nice thing is it's not real hard to get it to mix back up. Pretty happy with that. So you see what I mean by the grit, or this color that's in here. It's like a little flake or a small ground up pebbles or something. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's the anti-slip material. I am not following Behr's instructions to a T. I am doing some of the stuff that they're saying to do. They say to use a 1/4 inch nap adhesive / epoxy roller cartridge. I am using that. I am also going to put down the first coat as a base coat, a very light coat, and then I'm going to wait 3 or 4 hours to put down my second coat. That's about as much of their instructions as I'm following. They say to just get it out of the pan with the roller. It doesn't work. So I'm going to show you how to get this product on here and get it on here smooth and even. I've got my tray filled up, and I'm going to start with all my perimeter. I'm going to go around this post and a little bit of that edge right there. Rather than just dipping your brush in like you were painting, I want to scoop it so that it's just kind of globbed on there. Then I'm going to come over here, and I am going to spread it a little bit like paint and get it fairly on there. Then I'm just going to dab it, and remember, this is the first coat, so we want this coat to be thin, and not overdone. So that when I come through, I'm going to dab it. And that distributes that gravel much better than if you were trying to brush it. When I get here more in the open, it's just all going to be dabbing. There's going to be no brushing whatsoever. I'll dab it on. Get me a little scoop, dab it on. I'm going to come through a little later once everything's done here and get all these faces taken care of. And as you can see, there's already paint on the surface, and from what I read, and I'm very hopeful that I won't have any adhesion issues. This paint is on here well. It's not flaking, not peeling. I've pressure washed it a couple of times now to prepare the surface. So I'm hopeful that we have no adhesion issues. Alright, I'm going to finish cutting this in and then we'll start getting some rolled on. With all the edging done, I'm ready to start getting some material down. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my brush like a scoop, and I'm going to just put some down on here. This way I get everything. I get the grit. I'm just getting everything I need right down here on the surface. Some videos I watched and some stuff that I read, people are pouring it out. I think pouring it out is just, you don't have much control. You get too much product. And what we want for this first coat is super light, so I want to be able to control the product that I'm putting down. And as you can see, this is working out very light. I do want it to be consistent, but I want it to be light. Anywhere that I see inconsistencies in this first coat, I'm just going to add a little more material. And I just wanted to say too that Behr does recommend that you work in like 3 foot by 3 foot sections, and I'm going to do that also, or smaller. This is probably a little over 2 feet wide by about 2 feet. And I just want to, there's some little air pockets or little divots in the cement. I want to make sure I get them coated so that I don't have missed spots. And there we have it. I am going to finish getting this first coat down, and we will come back and take a look before we start the second coat. The first coat is dry. It's been about 24 hours actually. It started raining way earlier than it was supposed to, and I did not get back out here and get the second coat. The first coat is extremely transparent. As you can see right here, there's a little black overspray from a paint project that happened here. It'll get covered over, but you can also see the difference between what's finished and what isn't finished. So now we're ready to get this second coat on, and we're going to start with the edges again. I also wanted to add on the first coat, if you have any cracks or anything like that in the concrete, you fill them at that point in time with this product, and it basically will make the crack disappear on the second coat, and it seals it up nicely. So for the second coat on the edges, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to kind of get it on there, but I'm going to be much more liberal with it. So I'm not worried about a super thin coat. Way more liberal with it this time, and just get that super nice coverage that I'm looking for. But once again, I am not going to brush it except for where I have to around this post, and then everything else will just get dabbed on. I'm going to get the edges all finished up, and then we'll come back and take a look at it, and then we'll get started on rolling some out. With all the edging done, I am ready to start getting it rolled on. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to spoon it out with my brush, but I am going to be much more liberal with it to get that coverage. It actually kind of easily spreads a little heavier once you get that first coat on. For some reason, I'm kind of curious how this is going to hold up back here because of all the traffic. It's on my front porch and it's been on there for quite some time, but there's not the traffic that there is here. This has a lot more traffic because of the dogs. So, just very curious how this is going to hold up. They say it can be used on driveways, so I don't see why I wouldn't be able to get good durability out of it, so long as it's cleanable. So now yesterday the amount that I just put on there would have taken me a long way, and today it's taken me basically nowhere. I'm just going to work small areas and work my way over. There's some air pockets in the cement, and I could pretty much fill them with this, which is kind of nice. They'll be gone or close to it. And by spooning it out with the brush like this, the gravel, the grit, whatever it is in here, seems to apply much smoother than just using the roller in the pan. And I'm just going to roll it out until it's smooth. No rough edges, no none of that. I'm not sure exactly how thick of a coat this is, but I'm really liking what I see so far. I can also say that the can is pretty accurate on the coverage. You'll be surprised. The first coat won't use a lot. The second coat is going to kind of gobble through it. So as far as coverage is concerned, you can pretty much go off of the can. So this entire porch, including the edges and the steps, is going to cost me about $308 in material. I opted to get the 5-gallon container as opposed to gallon cans because you save a little money doing it that way. So that was my choice, but about $300, a little over. Not bad in my opinion. Not a horrible price for what hopefully will be a long-lasting product. Alright, I'm going to keep on going and we'll come back and have a look in a little bit. I'm a little over halfway finished with this area, and I just want to say that I've used this entire pan now. And yesterday on my first coat I used about a half a pan, if that, on the first coat. So we're going to use almost double on this second coat as to what we did, more than double on the second coat as to what we did with the first coat. I'm also overlapping by about 4 inches each time. You can see right there my overlap is still wet, and right there the overlap is still wet. And the reason I want to get that overlap is because the edges are a little transparent, so I just want to make sure that I get those edges covered well and that I get a good blend, because there's no blotchiness on this side that I've already done. There's some dirt from my dogs, but other than that there's no blotchiness. It's very uniform, and I'm just going to repeat the same thing that I did here because it worked very well. So I'm happy with what I got going so far. I'm going to get this pan filled up, get the rest of this done. The entire surface is coated, and I already have some areas that are starting to dry, like right here. And as you can see, I have a very good color match, which I expected to have. And also all of my anti-slip grit, or the little pieces of gravel, are very uniform and they're laid out very nicely, so there's no missed spots. And that's the advantage to using the brush, to pile it on there, like scoop it out like a shovel out of your pan, so that you get that nice even gravel like this side has. This is the same thing. All of the black and little white specks of gravel are laid out nice and even. We're going to let this dry a little more and take another look at it. As you can see here, my overlap lines are disappearing and blending in very nicely. Right in there you can see that it's disappearing. So as it dries more, those overlap lines will just completely disappear, and I think that's what helps me to get this nice blend where it doesn't look like it's blotchy. A lot of the stuff that I've saw in the forums that I've read is people have struggled with it looking patchy when they're done with it, not one uniform color. and I believe just working these small sections straight back and forth like this is what's aiding me in getting a nice uniform finish, along with spooning it out with the brush as opposed to just trying to dip my roller in it. I think a lot of what they might be seeing is the gravel just very ununiform, or the anti-slip grit very ununiform in their finish because of the way that they're applying it with the roller instead of just scooping it out. But we'll come back, take a look at it in a little bit. Alright, I'm getting a good blend here. I'm real happy with it. I went in, ate dinner, come out. I still got this last little bit, and it's nowhere near dry. It needs 24 hours for light foot traffic, but I'm really happy with what I've got. To go from this to this is going to be a huge difference. I hope if you're using Behr Granite Grip that this video has helped you get a nice uniform finish like I've got. That's all we got for this time. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider doing so. And remember to always respect the power of your power tools. We'll see you soon.